This is kind of blowing my mind so far. That's crazy. Oh my gosh. Oh, that's awesome. He is teeing up something special. Wow, that would be actually pretty cool. What is up? Welcome back. Today I'm reacting to a video titled, Why Did the Czechs Suddenly Love the Poles? Do Czech people love Polish people? I don't know anything about this, and I'm discovering that, I guess, in this video. What's up? If you haven't met me yet, my name is Aaron, and this is Aaron Arnold Reacts. Through this channel, I'm discovering everything about Europe, the people, the culture, the sports, anything you can imagine. The goal of this channel is to laugh together, to learn together, and to have fun together. I post videos every single day, so make sure you hit like and subscribe so you can see another one just like this in the future. But now let's get into why the Czechs love the Poles. Let's go.
Poles. According to the latest research, a staggering 81% of Czechs consider Poland an ally. This is the highest result of any country. Czechs value us more than the Germans, the French, and almost 4 times more than Americans. But that's not all. None, and I repeat.
I feel like America just caught a stray there because they were talking about Europe and then he just switched to America. So anyways.
None of the Czechs participating in the study considered Poland an enemy. 0%. In an increasingly polarized world where hostility toward neighbors is common, this is truly exceptional. Today I'll tell you why Czechs have suddenly come to love Poles, but also why they weren't fond of us before. By the way, do you know this history between the Poles and the Czechs? I don't know anything. I literally don't know anything. So hopefully I could learn a lot in this video. Discuss the possibilities this opens up for us. And finally, we'll let our imaginations run wild and see what would happen if Poland and the Czech Republic became one country. Join us. My name is Sarmata and I create content about Poland and Poles. If you like this one, I'd appreciate a thumbs up and a subscription so you don't miss out on future content.
Yes.
For decades, Czechs have always been at the top of Polish rankings for foreigner friendliness. Czech beer, the mole, and that funny language that sounds like someone speaking Polish, but with
mole. What is that about?
Strange diminutives.
Stopa.
Hojidlo.
Platypus.
Takapisk. All of them simply made us like everything Czech. But interestingly, the feeling wasn't mutual. Alexander Kaczorowski, Poland's most distinguished chemist, translator, and expert on Czech, once said, "In the past, Czechs treated us the way we treated Romanians, and then the way we treated Ukrainians." These are rather harsh words, but unfortunately, they were true. For the average Czech, throughout the 1990s and 2000s, Poland was a country somewhere in the east, poor, loud, and overly religious.
That's too bad. That's how the Czechs used to view Poland. It's unfair.
On top of that, we had a rather poor reputation for Polish merchants raiding Czech bazaars, selling them cheap, questionable goods. The stereotype of the Polish sly one, who wants to cheat you at every turn, has
no way. That's not the understanding I have of Polish people at all.
Developed among Czechs. This image has become so ingrained in the Czech subconscious that back in 2014, the German network T-Mobile aired a Christmas commercial on Czech television featuring our compatriot. A mustachioed Pole emerging from a Christmas tree near the border sells the protagonist a phone that's falling apart in his hands. See for yourself.
What?
The cell phone is American. I have it.
Because I don't have it. Money doesn't matter. We'll trade. We'll trade.
Done. But the
story became so controversial that the Polish embassy filed an official diplomatic protest. The Czech advertising...
Wow, that's actually interesting. An official protest from the Polish side. It's so unfair, though. You can't portray people like that. That's really... I can't believe the Czechs see Poles like that. This is kind of blowing my mind so far.
Council deemed the ad unethical, and T-Mobile withdrew the ad. Ironically, after the ad was withdrawn, it went viral and was viewed by significantly more people than during its normal run. Who would have...
That's advertising these days. Just be controversial and you'll get rewarded.
Guessed. Okay, so how is it possible that in 12 years we went from being ridiculed in commercials to being the most beloved of all countries? I'll explain.
Let's go.
But to understand how this happened, we first need to try to understand Czech culture, which differs significantly from our own.
Okay, interesting. I was just about to ask, is Polish culture and Czech culture anything alike, like at all? And I guess he's about to answer why it's not.
Let's start with what everyone knows. Beer. Czechs love it. Czechs have been the world beer drinking champions since 1993.
That's crazy. Oh my gosh.
32 years in a row.
32 years. These Czech people are just chugging beer all the time.
148 liters per person per year. In many Czech bars, beer is cheaper than bottled water, and no one considers the latter a problem. But beer is the tip of the Czech iceberg. Beneath the surface lies Czech character. The Czech Republic is the country that gave the world Jackdaw, Hasek, Kandera, and Foreman. A country where youth fought communism through rock and roll in the theater of the absurd. A country that carried out the Velvet Revolution without a single drop of blood. The key to understanding the Czech mentality lies in the fictional figure of CZECH, a soldier who didn't rebel directly, but instead preferred to play dumb so perfectly that the entire state apparatus stumbled over him.
Do you know this character, by the way? This must be some very famous TV show.
The Czech Republic survived the Habsburgs, Nazis, and communists in precisely this way, with an ironic smile, without romantic suffering, and without heroic gestures on the barricades. This is perhaps the greatest difference between Czechs and Poles. We react to tragedy with romanticism and heroism. Czechs react with CZECH. This difference has created a distance for decades. Czechs viewed our seriousness and solemnity as something from another world. But Czechs also...
Okay, interesting. So there's a completely different mental shift and difference between Poles and Czechs, based on what he just said. That's actually so interesting.
Have something we have always adored, their culture. The Mole was created in 1957 by Zdeněk Miller with one goal: for every child in the world to understand a fairy tale without translation. The Mole doesn't speak. He only makes sounds and gestures, and solves problems with a small shovel. This black, shrunken bull raised generations of Poles, particularly in Silesia, where Czechoslovak television could be received from a transmitter in Ostrava. Silesian children watched Polish evening drama, and later Czech cenicals. Two fairy tales instead of one. Perhaps that's why Silesia has always understood Czechs better than the rest of Poland. Besides...
So interesting. That makes me wonder, how different are the languages? Is Czech and Polish completely different? I imagine there's a lot of overlap, right?
Besides, the Mole isn't the only Czech fairy tale that has taken root in Polish hearts. There are also neighbors Pat and Matt, two inseparable handymen who, in every episode, tackle some repair job and always end up in disaster. Poles love them. Probably every one of us, watching this cartoon, imagined our own construction adventures, or at least the adventures of someone in our family.
That's awesome. I've never seen these guys before. I don't know this show at all. We don't have this where I'm from. So this looks like a really fun show. Two handymen trying to figure things out. I think anyone could watch that and have a good time. Do you know the show, by the way?
Pat and Matt are characters written as if the director was inspired by two Polish brothers-in-law who, on their weekend off, decided to renovate their kitchen together because one of their wives had been nagging him for months, until I felt like watching an episode. In short, on the one hand, Czechs thought we were conniving and con artists, but on the other, we sympathized with them, drank their beer, and watched The Mole and The Neighbors. In the face of tragedy, we take up arms and write poetry.
That's exactly what I imagine from Poland, by the way. Like that character right there with the huge arms and the cape, Superman. That's exactly what I think of when I think of like a Polish soldier or someone. I watched a video about the Winged Hussars. Oh my gosh. Those guys are true superheroes. They were insane.
In the face of tragedy, they shrug, order another beer, and play dumb so convincingly that the system trips them up.
What?
We've always liked them and we're just waiting for them to like us back. And finally, that's what started to happen.
Okay, here we go.
2012, Euro. Poland and Ukraine host the European Championship. For the Czechs, it was the first real shock. Poland built thousands of kilometers of highways. New stadiums, new airports, new city centers. In a single decade, the country physically changed, clearly visible from a car window.
Wow. Okay, so Poland exploded at this time. The economy finally started to boom after so many years of being positive. Poland's economy, by the way, is just nuts. If you don't know anything about it, I'm learning about it right now. It's crazy. Like, it's truly booming. Poland is up next. I watched a video the other day that literally said Poland is Europe's next superpower. So if you didn't see that, check it out because that's a really fascinating video.
Czech analyst Did CZECHs admits that the change in Poland is visible at first glance and is incredible. This country is a magnet and isn't the gray and dreary state we imagined it to be. However, as I mentioned earlier, 2 years after the Euro, Czech television aired commercials about a Pole lurking in a Christmas tree. So, although the stereotype faded, it still existed. Everything began to change much faster in the 1920s.
Wow, okay.
In
2020s.
2022, something happened that no economist could have predicted.
What is he about to say here? Do you know?
The Polish average salary has overtaken the Czech one, a country that was
Whoa.
significantly poorer throughout the 1990s, which spent a decade chasing its neighbors, has suddenly overtaken them. This sentence would have
Wow,
sounded like
okay. So the average salary in Poland has now surpassed the Czechs. I wonder what the Czechs think about this. If you're Czech and you're watching this, what do you think about Poland? Honestly, what do you think about Poland? And my Polish friends, what do you think about the Czechs?
fantasy just 5 years ago. For years, the Czech Republic was our wealthier cousin, and being wealthier than Poles was also part of Czech identity. The Czech daily Gospodarski Nowiny wrote about this openly. This phenomenon is no longer a matter of experts. It's discussed in cafes and pubs in Czech towns on the northern border.
So the Czech people are very aware of this shift in Poland.
And there's another element of this change, almost poetic in its irony, the Škoda. The most Czech car in the world. A symbol of the Czech Republic and its engineering. In Poland, it became the second most frequently purchased car. Every 10th car on Polish roads is a shame. Poles bought Czech cars and simultaneously began to earn more than the Czechs who manufactured them.
Wow, okay. So it's saying basically the Poles are overtaking the Czechs. I didn't know Škoda was Czech, though. I had no idea.
This is the moment when Czechs began to view Poland differently. Not as a poorer neighbor, but as a country that had done something, that had changed, and that deserved respect.
Wow.
February 2022, Russia's war with Ukraine erupts. Central Europe is splitting into two camps. The famous Visehrad group, Poland, the Czech Republic, Hungary, and Slovakia, ceases to exist as a unit. Hungary, and then Slovakia, move in one direction, while Poland and the Czech Republic move in the other. Then comes a certain orange-haired elderly gentleman who has done perhaps more for Czech-Polish relations than anyone else.
Really? Okay. What did he do for the Polish and Czech? I didn't realize Trump had done something for the Polish and Czech relations.
January 2025, Trump's return to the White House. The United States' shift in attitude toward NATO shakes Europe. For the Czech Republic, a country that for decades relied on American security guarantees, this was a real shock. In surveys, only 23% of Czechs considered the U.S. an ally. Recall that Poland gave 81%.
Wow.
In such a situation, a predictable, confident, and pro-Atlantic Poland is becoming something the Czechs desperately needed.
Interesting.
A stable point of reference in an increasingly uncertain world. Both they and we have come to understand that local alliances can mean much more in the future than empty declarations from powers across the Atlantic or Western Europe. Beyond the political breakthrough, another, much more everyday one is taking place. The Czechs are discovering the Polish Sea. Memes about the Czech Republic and its access to the sea are almost iconic in our country. We may not have given them direct access. No exaggeration, hello. However, Czechs have felt at home by our seaside.
Okay, interesting. So are a lot of Czech people now vacationing in Poland? Is that becoming normal? And by the way, they say talking about the seaside, it has to be like Gdansk, Gdynia, Sopot, these areas. So are a lot of Czech people traveling there? This is pretty interesting.
Just a few years ago, Czechs associated the sea with Croatia. However, in 2024, 400,000 Czech tourists will choose to spend their holidays in Poland. A year later, according to forecasts, the number could be twice as many. Why is this happening? The reason is simple. The new S3 motorway runs from the Czech border across western Poland to the Baltic Sea. You leave Prague at 8 a.m., and by 1 p.m. you're already at the Polish seaside. In December 2024...
Wait, hold on. So you leave Prague, you can be at Gdansk in 3 hours. That's pretty amazing.
The Baltic Express, a train from Prague via Wrocław to Gdynia, launched. 4 connections.
Oh, that's awesome.
Daily. In the first 3 months, 200...
I did not know that. Wait a second. So you can take a train from Prague to Gdynia in 3 hours.
115,000 passengers. And there's another breakthrough, though perhaps that's an exact...
By the way, do you know how much that train ticket is? I'd be really curious how much that costs.
But there's another Polish meme that the Czechs have fallen in love with. September 2022, a Polish internet user posts a meme suggesting that if Russia can simply occupy foreign territories, perhaps it's time for the Czechs to occupy Kaliningrad and finally gain their desired access to the sea. He also proposes a new name for the Kralovic region. A hashtag with this name is quickly gaining popularity on Xie, especially in the Czech Republic, where even local politicians have humorously picked up on the Polish idea. The Czech Ministry of Defense is even mockingly suggesting the purchase of ships, and the Czech Drach is announcing a new route to Kralovic.
Wow, this would be pretty interesting. I mean, even more beer would be shared and sent around the world if the Czechs had a port.
A Kralovic account has even been created on Xie, garnering over 70,000 followers.
What?
This meme perfectly demonstrates that Czech sympathies have changed. No one laughs with someone they don't like. I'd like to tell you about the enormous possibilities and opportunities that Czech sympathy offers us Poles. But before that, let's let our imagination run wild.
Okay. Okay, now he's going to get into the Poland plus, or combining with Czech. This is going to be interesting.
Imagine that Czechs' sympathy for Poles grows to the point that they decide we should form a single country.
What?
Of course, this is a science fiction scenario, but let's let our imagination run wild. 51 million inhabitants, 6th place in the European Union, a territory the size of Germany, a GDP of $100 billion. We overtake...
It'd be higher. I think it'd be higher than 100 billion, because I'm pretty sure Poland itself just hit $1 trillion, right?
The Netherlands and Saudi Arabia in the rankings, becoming the world's 18th largest economy. Warsaw is the political capital, Prague is the cultural capital. Wrocław, geometrically centered, 300 kilometers from Prague.
He's teeing up something special. He is teeing up something special. Wow.
The center of a united Silesia and something Czechs have...
So, but according to this, by the way, it sounds like Warsaw is just completely fallen to the side.
Dreamed of for centuries. Access to the sea. In a united state, the Czechs would have their own sea for the first time since the closing of the Adriatic Sea after World War II. The meme about the Kralovic, a Polish ship, would cease to be a joke. The Polish-Czech relationship is becoming a European factory, the 4th largest car producer in the EU. The Czech Republic has Škoda, the aerospace defense industry, and Brno as a European technology hub.
What? Wait, I didn't know Brno. I don't know how you say it in Czech, but I did not know that was a tech hub.
Automotive cluster, language. This is where the problems arise. Combining it into one, or keeping 2 official languages, as in Belgium, is probably the best solution. Compulsory teaching of both languages is mandatory in schools. Every child after 8 years understands both Polish and Czech. Within
That'd be
2
interesting.
generations, a Polish-Czech linguistic continuum is created. Not just one new language, but the ability for residents of Bialystok and Brno to communicate freely. Something like in Scandinavia, where Swedes, Norwegians, and Danes understand each other without...
Wow, that would be actually pretty cool. If Czechia and Poland had this, that'd be pretty amazing.
A translator. We are Slavs, and it's even easier for us. The flag. White and red horizontal stripes with a blue Czech triangle.
Wow, this guy really is teeing up something special here. He's going through all the details.
The pole. Okay, I'm done. Don't challenge the humble Sarmatian for a dose of imagination. Poland is Poland with all our romanticism, and the Czech Republic is Czech with their shyness. Let it stay that way. We don't have to merge into one to cooperate. And this cooperation offers both countries enormous opportunities, and I'll tell you about them now.
Okay, let's go. Okay, so Poland and the Czech are about to start collaborating even more. And so this is going to be another way that both countries are going to flourish. I like this. I like where this is going.
Let's go back to square one. 81% of Czechs consider us allies. None of the surveyed consider us enemies. This isn't the end of the story, it's the beginning. First, infrastructure. The Baltic Express is just the beginning. The next step could be high-speed rail connections between Prague, Wrocław, and Warsaw. Today,
that'd be amazing.
The journey takes 6 hours.
Oh, 6 hours.
With the right investments, this time could be cut in half. The 3 hours between the 2 capitals are changing the way both countries think about each other.
Okay.
Prague is no longer a foreign country. It's becoming a weekend getaway. Second, the economy. Polish brands have been operating in the Czech Republic for years. Reserved, Sinsay, Krop. Most Czech...
Whoa, wait a second. Those are Polish brands?
Brands have been operating in the Czech Republic for years. Reserved, Sinsay, Crop.
I did not know
Most Czechs
that.
don't know they're Polish companies. A
I didn't know
quiet
that.
expansion that builds bridges invisible in the headlines. Third, security. Poland spends 4% of its GDP on defense, one of the highest figures in NATO.
Wow.
The Czech Republic is 2%. Two armies that increasingly train together, that understand that the eastern flank of Europe is a shared responsibility. And fourthly, something immeasurable, but perhaps most important, mutual understanding that grows from the bottom up. A Czech tourist who spent a week on the Baltic Sea and was surprised by how much he enjoyed it. A Polish student who went to Brno and discovered it was one of the coolest cities in Europe, a city
okay.
no one in Poland talks about. Czech children who play The Witcher and recognize Slavic ghosts from their own legends. Polish children who still watch The Mole, or Neighbors, or Czech women from castings on black couches or in taxis with strange signs. No, I hope they don't watch that, but we all know how it is. As a reminder, Czech analyst Wid Dostal said about Poland, not long ago, it was a gray and sad country for us. Today, it attracts us like a magnet. That's how friendships are built. Quote,
Wow.
not through grand declarations, but through a train to the seaside, a shared joke about Kaliningrad, and an 81% in a survey that no one expected.
That's crazy.
Relations between nations don't change because of signed treaties. They change through a million small moments that suddenly start moving in the same direction. And
I
in
like
the case
that.
of Poland and the Czech Republic, this direction looks truly promising, and let's make sure it stays that way. If you watch the video to the end, leave a comment about the Czech Republic, and I'll pin a heart for you. If you watch the video to Poland and the Czech Republic, this direction looks truly promising, and let's make sure it stays that way.
Wow, insane video. All my Polish and Czech friends, what'd you think of this? Are the Czech people now appreciating Poland more? Is Poland appreciating the Czech more? Is there more alliance now than ever? Are more Czech people actually visiting Poland? That's a really interesting thing that obviously I've never thought about as an American. So this is really, really cool to discover. I can't wait to learn more about both of these beautiful countries. If you enjoyed the video and you want to see another one just like this, make sure you hit like and subscribe. If you want to support the channel even more, check out my links down below. And to all my channel members, thank you so much for being a channel member. It means so much that you're joining me on this journey. I can't wait to keep bringing you exclusive content and just including you more on this crazy ride. I hope to see all of you in the very next video. Cheers.